I have wanted to talk about this film for a very long time in somewhat of great detail because I think that this is one of the scariest films I've seen. Now, keep in mind, I have not seen the remake of this film with Jeff Bridges, but this is a film called The Vanishing, or known as in other countries, Spoorloos. The film is directed by George Sluizer. I think that's how you say his name. I'm not exactly sure. And it follows two characters, Rex and Saskia, I believe that's how you say her name, as they are traveling the country, going through the back roads, and they stop at a gas station. I will not spoil what happens in this film because this is one of the more intriguing films that I've seen, especially whenever it comes to a thriller, or a mystery film. Because what Spoorloos does, or The Vanishing, is it does this thing where you hear about people going missing, you hear about people disappearing, you hear about all these unsolved mysteries, but what The Vanishing does is it does a really good job of convincing you that something like this can happen, and something like this can happen in a split second. But not only does it do that, but it may or may not show you the different perspectives from the different parties involved with that mystery, and then what happens afterwards. It's a very ambitious film. It was a film that I was not expecting it to be what it was when I watched it, but that was honestly for the better because I sort of had a certain expectation for this film when I jumped into it, and it ended up exceeding my expectations because I had heard about this film, especially whenever I was just getting into foreign cinema. I had heard people talk about this film a lot, about how it was a must watch, it was one of Stanley Kubrick's favorite films, it was the most terrifying film he had ever seen, and it was just a masterpiece. And that was like close to 5 years ago, I think. And I just remember hearing things about it, which I've seen this film. I watched this film a very long time ago, but I've just wanted to talk about it since then. And I've had a chance to rewatch it a few times, and it gets me every time. Like the first time that I watched it, of course I was going in blind, I was going in oblivious, I didn't really know what was going on. Then on my rewatches, I'm sort of picking up on these things, and I sort of focus on each character as the story progresses. So it's almost like it's a film that you can definitely study. I wouldn't say that it's a film that is very pleasurable to study, but you can. And there's a lot of things that you won't pick up on the second or the first time around, compared to the second time around. And this film is also in the Criterion Collection, so you guys should definitely check it out. I have not seen the remake from the same director. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to watch it. I don't know. It sort of reminds me a little bit of what Michael Haneke did with Funny Games, which actually was not a bad, And now looking at this, it seems like they have a series. Yeah, they have a series for this. Never heard of this. But another thing about The Vanishing that I really there's a lot of metaphors, or like I was saying with my M video that I did, motifs. There's this specific thing with the golden egg, which I don't want to spoil it, but it's so smart. And it's one of those things where when you watch it and you see, like you hear one of them talk about, this, you know that it's going to come into play in the story. Like you just know that it's going to, just because of sort of how out there it is. Because you don't just bring up something like that in a dialogue conversation and not do something with it. I mean, I guess you could, and I guess it could be unique, but this film definitely does. And I really I liked what they did with it, because the novella that this film is based off of is called The Golden Egg. And I like it. There's just something about it. This is one of those films too that do not watch this film and sit on your phone and do all that stuff. It demands your attention. This film demands your attention. It needs it. It needs it. And I also want to talk about the actor Bernard Pierre. I'm just going to say Bernard Pierre because I do not know how to pronounce that last name. He is actually really exceptional in this film. He plays, again, I don't want to say much about the film, but he plays a very interesting character. That's all I'm going to say. And he does a really good job, especially whenever you start to get further into the narrative. You sort of get to realize, like, okay, this guy is interesting. This guy's very interesting. And he plays it off very well. Like, it is one of those roles where if you didn't cast the right person, like, it's perfect casting. it's perfect casting. I can imagine the director sat down and was like, okay, yeah, I gotta have this guy. Yeah, this is my dude. I gotta have this guy in the film. And the actress Johanna, she does a really good job of having this. She's got this nice, I guess you could say, positive flutter around her, where you never get tired of seeing her on the screen. Every single time you watch her, you're almost alert because you kind of know, like, okay, yeah, this is somebody that I should definitely be focused on. And then you have Gene Barovitz. Is that how you say it, Barovitz? He was also in Inside, which had Willem Dafoe in it. That's interesting. That was actually not the worst film ever. I actually liked Inside. What? 2 point. And the atmosphere for The Vanishing there's nothing like it, really. It is one of those films where you're never going to have the same viewing experience after you watch it for the first time. And I think that's probably the most important thing that I can say is once you watch this film for the first time, there's no going back. Like you can re-watch it and there's going to be things that you can take away from it. I usually get my kicks off this film now showing it to people for the first time. So that's kind of, how I balance that out, because this film it doesn't hit you as hard watching it the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time. I mean, I would imagine that it would probably just keep going down, but the first time viewing for this film, and there are some films that are like that, where, you watch it for the first time and there's just nothing like it. I have a few films like that I wish I could go back and watch again for the first time, but, we can't do it, so whatever. And I would highly recommend checking it out. I know the Criterion sale is going out this month. Hopefully this video will come out before the Criterion sale ends. But it is worth the watch. You will enjoy it, I'm pretty sure. I don't even know if it's necessarily a film that you're meant to enjoy, but it is a film that definitely grabbed my attention. It's a film that I think about quite often. And usually, like I was actually a guest in a classroom not long ago, a film classroom, and they were suggesting films on the whiteboard, and this was actually the film that I put on there because it is, again, it's one of those films where you can recommend it to people, and some people might be like, fuck, that wasn't a good movie, and I've had that before. I recommended The Lobster to somebody, but I feel like for this film, you can recommend it to somebody, and somebody's going to be like, yeah, this was a ride. This was a trip, and you can sort of agree with that, and then you guys can all laugh, ha ha ha, like hee hee hee. And yeah, but yeah, that's my thoughts on The Vanishing. I wanted to make a video about it because it's a video that I've wanted to make for a little bit, but I wanted to do a couple more rewatches on it just because I do love the film. Like it's in like my top 30 something of all time, something like that. But I haven't. So yeah, that's that. But I have made the video now. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you check out The Vanishing. Let me know what you think of the film down in the comments below. Don't spoil anything. Also, if you guys want to check out my filmography, definitely do so. You can check it out. The link tree is in the description below, and you can also leave a rating on Letterboxd, IMDb. It helps me out a lot. But anyway, guys, take it easy, and I'll see you next time.